Breakdown of the type of electric vehicles in use over the past decade shown in this small data set. I'm going to present some interesting data about electric vehicles. At the same time, I'm going to use it to show how in Excel you can present interesting, let's say, a statistical presentation in the form of bar charts and a stacked bar charts aside from some further data. So here you have in the first column year, 2010 to 2020, battery electric vehicle or BEV. You can see that at the beginning of the decade, it was only 16,000, and then over a decade combined, we got to about close to 7 million total, which is an impressive growth. And then plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, PHEV, it was nothing at the beginning of the decade, and then we ended up close to 3.3 million. Vehicle in use. And then fuel cell electric vehicle was nothing, literally 90 just, and then we got to 31,000, showing that it wasn't as successful as the other two categories. And the total, meaning that the sum of these three categories together reported here, an annual increase, of course, comparing 2011 to 10 and 2012 to 11, all shown here. Sorry, these are comparing all to the reference year, which is 2010. Okay, so I'll talk about the rest of the charts here, but in the meantime, let's focus on this data we have. And one thing you can do is you can just present this data. So let's just have these guys, which is the year and also three types of the electric vehicles or renewable vehicles, basically. So what we can do, we can go to insert, and then we can, let's say, go to there is a recommended chart. That's one thing you can try. So there are options over there if you want to try. For example, let's say if you're interested, you can try something like this. You can try what is referred to as bubble chart. So it shows for the plug-in hybrid, for example, for this one, it shows back in beginning point that was nothing, and then it got to about 3.3 million, which is represented by this bubble. So forget about that. Let's go with presenting using bar charts. So I go to insert and I go to say charts, and I can try, let's say, here. So the nice thing is we have many options available to us. For example, in the 3D version illustration, you can do a bar chart like this. And of course, you can play with the chart later. So there you go. So it is nicely showing these three categories over time. And of course, x-axis is something you can always edit. So you can edit x-axis instead of showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 11. You can show actually the year. So you can show 2010, 11, 12. But basically 1 here represent 2010, 11 here represent 2020. And then on the y-axis, what we have is the actual sale and different colors. Of course, you can insert legend, and so one thing you can do is you can go to, of course, you can go to here, which is the chart styles, and you can have different styles in case you want to try different things, different colors, different formatting, with shadow, without shadow, something like that. And of course, you can go here and you can select data labels if you want, which shows the actual numbers. You can do the data table, a repeat of the table you have over there. Over here, legend is already presented. So, and of course, for legend, you can say on top rather than say on the bottom, left, or however you like to put it, or more options. But let's keep it on top. So, and let's remove table, because it makes it busy. And let's remove data labels because it makes it busy as well. And axis title is there, so you can, so primary, horizontal, vertical, more option, you can click on it so that it can provide more option. But basically what I'm trying to say is you can have a lot of degree of freedom. You can edit chart title, you can edit y-axis title, you can edit x-axis title. Of course, x-axis title will be year, and y-axis title will be number of cars uh, in use. And for title, you can just say breakdown of the type of electric EV in use. So you can play with all these things if you want, and you can plot any way you like to present the data. And these plots are showing an exponential growth, of course, and you can see that the growth is visible, very visible for the orange color, which according to legend is battery electric vehicles, the first column here, and for the orange bar, and then for gray one, which is the plug-in, you can see there, and for the yellow, you can hardly see anything because it's very small, but it is on top basically, so it's negligible compared to the other ones. So that is showing it this way. Of course, you can change colors. So that option you have, there you go. So you can play with different colors over here. You can do monochromic and you can do colorful. So you can play with the colors over there. You can do different schemes if you like, and you can change layout. So as I showed you, different style. And for chart element, it's already here as well, aside from the ones I showed you. You can show grid lines in a better fashion, no grid line if you want. And for the layout, I talked about it already. So um, you can switch rows and columns if you like. And you can also um, do another chart if you like. So um, if you go to here, so we had all charts. So for bar chart, you can show it this way. So let's do it this guy. See, I just changed the type. Now it is side-by-side bar chart for the same data rather than being stacked. And it's showing the year on the vertical axis and showing the number of cars in use on the horizontal axis. So it depends how you are trying to present your data. All I'm saying is there are so many tools available and good ways of presentation and visual representation available in Excel. So there are many ways you can play with these things. Okay, so with that in mind, let's move on to what I wanted to also show here. So presenting same data, as you can see from say 2018 to 2019, there is 1.5 million total increase, about so, in battery electric vehicle, and then 2019 to 20, about more than 2 million increase in battery electric vehicle sales. And you can see that here as well. So in 2019, about a little bit more than 1.5 million increase, and in 2020 a little bit more than 2 million increase. So this one is showing battery electric vehicle sales hit 3.5 million in 2021. So it has one more data that it is not present here. But what this chart is trying to say is exactly what is also presented here. So between 2019 and 20, about 2.2 million cars or 2.1 million new electric vehicles were sold, and that is exactly presented here. And it's showing a very powerful good growth in annual sales of electric vehicles. This is from Frost, and it shows around 7x increase since 2016. And another interesting chart is what is here, which is basically saying, oh, an interesting data point according to the source, which is International Energy Agency for global electric cars stock between 2010 and 21. You can see that here in different colors, blue is China battery electric vehicle, and yellow is China the fuel cell, the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, PHEV, and then dark brown is Europe battery electric vehicle, and then pinkish is the Europe, the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, PHEV, and then United States PHEV and battery electric vehicle are shown in green and also in orangish. So what is it saying is now nearly half of world's electric cars are actually in China, as you can see. The blue in 2021 is in China is super is considerably larger than the other regions in the world, and you can see exponential growth also highlighted here in terms of um, number of cars, electric cars that are actually active and in use in the world right now. So it's remarkable. If you go back to the total, if you go back to the total column here, electric vehicle in use, you can see that in 2020, according to this data set, we already hit above 10 million electric vehicles in use. Uh, and then you can see that also here as well. So in 2020, some of all these regions and battery electric vehicle or fuel cell electric vehicle, or let's say the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, the sum of them is approximately 10 million, which is in line with this data. And that in just 1 year jumped from 10 million to more than 16 million in just 1 year. So last year was a stellar sales for electric vehicles, more than 6 million electric vehicles total added in the system. Okay, so I hope that you find this both statistics about the electric vehicles and also how you can use Excel to present it useful.